What do you know? All right, so to make a long story short, the NBA draft had round one yesterday, and there were some interesting picks. You know what I'm saying? There were some interesting things that went on there. Let me zoom in a little bit for y'all. All right, so my biggest dilemma, obviously covering the Jazz mostly, is the simple fact that I didn't want Ace Bailey, and Ace Bailey didn't want us. You know, there was quite a few guys. No, no, I'm not gonna say quite a few guys. There was a couple guys available at five. I was surprised that eight. I'm not really surprised that Ace was available at five, but I thought when Trey Johnson was available at five, we were gonna take Trey Johnson. He's just more efficient, and while you could argue he doesn't have the same upside, to me, it's just kind of it just makes sense when you listen to him speak in press conferences, even after he was drafted, the questions that he was being asked and the way that he articulated himself and answered them, he's not just a guy where you are comfortable with him going into press conferences and him representing your team. In fact, dare I say, you might encourage it. You might want to have him there just for the sheer fact of being able to say you have a young star who's very marketable. And that's not to sit here and say that Ace Bailey isn't marketable because I believe he is, but he's not marketable in the same way when it comes to being very quick with it, flying off the handle, if that makes sense. Now, obviously, Cooper Flag at one makes sense. Dylan Harper at two makes sense. The Spurs, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. We're watching a lot of Spurs basketball this year, guys. Because why did Dylan Harper and where was the other one? Where's the other one? Carter Bryant. Oh my goodness. These when I tell you that the Spurs knocked it out of the park, the Spurs just knocked it out of the park. Granted, they've been knocking it out of the park, but you sat there and I know De'Aaron Fox is still injured. I don't know when he's supposed to be returning, but I'm pretty sure he's on an expiring contract. So either way, you have Dylan Harper. Let's just say for the sake of argument, they still keep De'Aaron Fox. They re-sign him or whatever. Dylan Harper, De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Rookie of the Year from last year, right? Victor Wembanyama when healthy, Rookie of the Year from the previous year. They're stacked, and they have a multitude of guys that they can rely on outside of that. The losers, who was a loser? The Nets to me were the biggest loser because I want to say they have a couple. They had a couple first round picks, didn't they? Yeah, one, two, three, four. Did they get anybody? Did somebody get? I feel like somebody got traded to them. Maybe I'm tripping. No, no, yeah, they had. Okay, so five. Yeah, the Nets are just bad at the game of basketball, low key. Not necessarily because the players that they picked were bad, but because they chose just not good situations. They reached for Igor. He was not eight. To me, I had him somewhere between 13 and 17. Uh, they definitely reached. There was no reason. They could have traded down and still got him. At least traded down with the Trailblazers, perhaps. Even though they obviously traded away Cedric. Who else did they end up grabbing? They grabbed Igor. Then was it the trade or was it them? Nolan Traore. I actually don't hate this one. This was an interesting pickup at 19. I don't hate it. Kasparis Yakachonis going to the Heat. I think he'll do well there. So I'm not mad that they went with Nolan Traore at 19. The fact that Drake Powell was here at 22 is okay, but again, I still feel like this is a reach. And then where's the other two? Danny Wolf and Ben Saroff. For a team, let me put it this way: for a team that had five first round picks, they got five guys. We already know they're bottom of the barrel. We know that Ace Bailey wanted to go either there to the Pelicans or to the Wizards. You shot you had five shots in your clip. You had five shots in your revolver, and you sprayed all five. And honestly, I don't think they were worth it. I just genuinely don't. You could have traded down and parlayed things to next year for all this was worth. Now I could be wrong, and I'm very open to being wrong. But I think the only team that I think they are the worst loser. No, I was about to say somebody else could be the worst loser. No, they had 5 picks. They literally had 5 out of, what is that? They had 1/6. I don't know. I don't remember what that is as a percentage, but they had 1/6 of the draft picks in the first round this year, and I don't see a single one where I'm like, oh yeah, that's terrific value for that particular pick, and I think that's the biggest thing. Now, my thing with the Jazz, my thing with Ace Bailey, right? Because that's ultimately why I decided to go live. I'm not an Ace Bailey lover. I don't hate Ace Bailey. Let me go ahead and say that. I don't hate him. I just don't love him. This is a guy who declined literally every workout made available to him. Made his camp, right? His parents plus his agents said that he did not want to go to any workouts. He didn't want to sit there, and he wanted to be paid to do interviews with teams. Crazy. And then this whole thing was a engineered plan because he wanted to drop down. He didn't care about the money that he was going to miss out on right now. He just wanted to go to a team where he can get up as many shots as possible and be who he wants to be. And then after that, once his rookie deal runs out, he'll be able to sign for an absorbent amount of money, right? Because he had the opportunity to showcase who he is and show that he's him, which would be fine if you were a guy like if he was Cooper Flag. If Cooper Flag was doing this, I would accept it more because Cooper Flag is the consensus number one. You could argue that Ace Bailey is probably as low as top 7 because we're banking on a lot of just potential. And I have no issue with banking on potential, but when it gets to the point where potential is the main thing that's driving your argument and then you act this way, the level of entitlement is crazy. And he wasn't exactly the happiest guy in the room getting drafted by his team. It was made apparent that he did not want to go to Utah. I think he also didn't want to go to the Hornets, obviously, because they have LaMelo and Brandon Miller and whatnot. Who did they end up trading away? They traded away Mark Williams, so this pickup made sense for them. I wanted Trey Johnson again, but we couldn't have that. So let me see. We'll jump over here. Let me see something. Is this just a regular vid, or is this? I don't even need the sound. All right, let's see here. Nope, don't care about the ads. Sorry. Oh, we'll listen.
Ace Bailey from Rutgers University.
I'm a bit of a hater, so I'll back up a little bit.
With Ace Bailey was never about his talent, but simply where would the Big Ten all-freshman selection end up? And now we know.
I can.
The Utah Jazz. Both of his parents, Richard and his favorite player, Kevin Durant, really is it's insane isolation. He's confident when he is a member of that NBA brotherhood.
Yeah, beyond the measurables, he's got a 7-foot wingspan. He's about 6'8", but he's just a big-time shot maker. He makes tough shots, and they're contested shots. He can make turnaround jumpers with a hand in his face. He's really good with his pull-up game. He shot like...
What the... Yo, these analysts were tweaking. Was good rim shot. The analyst, hold on, let me go back like 3 seconds because he just pissed me off with that.
Shots, and they're contested shots. He can make turnaround jumpers.
He cannot make turnaround jumpers.
With a hand in his face. He's really good with his pull-up game.
His pull-up game was egregious. I don't know exactly where he's going for because he couldn't shoot threes effectively. Granted, the type of shots that he was taking was more so the issue than anything, I suppose. But if we're talking about pull-up, as soon as he entered the three-point line, good God, the boy couldn't shoot. We're gonna go over those numbers too. But that's if you're gonna have people commentating on the draft, they have to have actually watched, at the very least, the lottery guys, like the guys that are supposed to go in the lottery. You have to know what you're talking about with them. You can't sit there and say he can shoot pull-ups when he shot like low 30s. If you're shooting 34% on pull-ups, you can't shoot pull-ups. Not in college, at least. That transition doesn't make sense.
He shot like 65% on runners and floaters. He's just got a terrific feel for scoring the basketball. But I don't think you're going to find a player in this draft that has made more difficult shots than Ace Bailey has made. And I think NBA players, when they were watching him play this last year, going, man, this dude can score in a variety of
I'm
ways.
going to mute him. I don't want to hear what he has to say. We'll watch this hilarious tape, though. That's a good bucket. All right. Explosive athlete. Okay. If you want to talk about his athleticism, that's fair. That's definitely fair. And I don't want to make it seem like I just don't like him as an athlete or as a prospect, because I do. But there's a limit. There's a limit. Defensively, I do like him, though. Defensively, I will say that. Yeah, that's enough glaze. There's not enough actual basketball being played right there. We're gonna go ahead. Let's just look up Ace Bailey stats, man. Let's see if they have his cut. No, they don't have it. He was listed officially, I want to say, at 6'7.5", weighing in at 203. Originally, he was supposed to be 6'10". Obviously, he wasn't. Let's see. McDonald's All-American, Nike Hoop Summit, Jordan Brand Classic honors, 5-star pick. He was, to be acting like that the way that he did leading into this with his agents and whatnot, even after not being the best player on his respective team and Dylan Harper clearly outclassing him, was interesting. But, 17.6 points, 7 rebounds, 1.3 assists, 1.3 blocks, 1 steal, 33 minutes per game, 46, 35, 69 splits. 69% from the free throw line is very telling a little bit. Now, I want to see the shot volume before I sit here and just start riding him crazy. Pause. But overall, he was doing his thing. 4.5 3-point attempts. Here we go. 3.6 free throw attempts again. We're going to look at the game-by-game splits. There's no way you're selling this. An elite shooter from everywhere on the court used his size to get his shot off whenever. This is true. He would shoot the ball more than anything. Let's see. Greatest spot-up shooter will attack poor closeout. That's fair. Okay. Settles for mid-range jumpers. Thank you. Okay, I was about to say, settles for mid-range jumpers instead of getting to the rim. That's the thing you need to harp on. He's better at attacking the rim in transition than in half-court settings. Yes, there we go. Okay. Bailey put up strong defensive production in college, has a length to be elite on the end of the court as a pro, but he needs to get stronger and make it happen. Thank you. There we go. He's also much better offensive rebounder than a defensive one, which will need to change as a pro. True. Very, very true. Let's see. Anything interesting? Yeah, okay. There's nothing else for us to work with there. All right, so I'm going to ask good old Google. Ace Bailey college stats. ESPN. Arius is his actual name? I thought they were saying Darius. That's hard. I'm not gonna lie. Arius is a tough name. Let me see here. I want to see these. All right, can I get game by game splits? No, not on here. All right, let's see these. It's not atrocious, but he's gonna have to work on it. I also don't hate this as much as I thought I was going to. Now seeing that there was only 107 attempts and he did hit, over 70 of them, even though it works out to just under 70%. That's not bad. I don't love the turnovers. He averaged more turnovers than assists. Where's my I'm gonna pull up the calculator out before I sit here and say something crazy. Calculator. All right. Just to make sure I'm doing this math right. 1.3 divided by 2. 0.65. I was about to say 0.67, so I wasn't that far off. He averaged a 0.65 to 1 assist to turnover rate. I don't think I need to tell anybody why that's not good. And it's not because people weren't open. It's not because there weren't opportunities to get rid of the ball. It was because he just wanted to hog the ball. And when you think you're the number one guy on your team, I guess you can pull that off. I don't think Rutgers was a great place for development for him or Dylan Harper, because even when you watch the tape, there's not a whole lot of controlled, systematic scheming going on. Not at least like what you would see at a Duke or a Chapel Hill or even at a Kentucky back when John Calipari was there. I didn't really watch too much of their games this past year. But all things considered, it's not necessarily atrocious. That's bad though. I don't hate 2 turnovers a game. Is that crazy? Considering he's pretty ball dominant, he did take 15 shot attempts tonight, 33 minutes of action. I don't hate it. I don't hate it as much as I thought I would. Oh, here we go. Game log. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. All right. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of mediocre games. All right, so it starts down here. 5 of 10, 17, 23, 17, 50, 60, 35. Kent State? Kennesaw State. Interesting. All right. Notre Dame. What happened here? 36 minutes, 4 of 12 shooting. Interesting. He also doesn't really take... Damn! Excuse my language. He took 10 threes against Kennesaw State. Why? I mean, he was 4 of 10, but for a guy whose shot diet usually doesn't... Yeah, 2 of 8 against Texas A&M. 0 of 4 against Penn State. 1 of 5 against Princeton. 1 of 4 against... Is Columbus? Columbia. You know, but he bounced back against Indiana. Yeah. 4 of 8, 1 of 5 against Wisconsin. So he's very hot and cold. Interesting. 5 of 8, 2 of 5, 4 of 5, 4 of 7, 4 of 9, 4 of 8. Those are good. Those are good ones. 4 of 10 isn't even that bad, honestly. But then you have, as the season progressed, he goes 5 of 8. Then he goes, oh, dang. 0 of 7 against Michigan. 3 of 15 overall. I might want to watch that tape. I might watch that tape off stream, not going to lie. That's an interesting one. 3 of 15 is egregious, boy. Illinois didn't shoot 1. Maryland 0 of 1. Iowa 1 of 3. Oregon 0 of 4. Washington 1 of 4. This isn't bad. 2 of 4. That's doable. Michigan 1 of 4. 1 of 6 against Purdue. 0 of 3 against Minnesota. They took Minnesota to overtime? Why? And then, what is this? Big Ten tournament first round? Is that what this is up here? They lost. Not a bad game. Well, no, not a bad game. He fouled out, but not a bad game at all. 2 turnovers, 2 assists, 7 rebounds, a block, 3 steals, 17 points, shooting 53% from the field, 1 of 3 from threes. So he knows that 3-pointers aren't really his greatest strength, but sometimes he just has the desire and the gall to, you know, get those things up. Let's see. Where are his bad turnover games? That's what I want to see. Iowa with 3, Maryland with 3, Michigan with 3. What's this? Michigan State with 3, Nebraska with 3, Purdue with 3. Princeton, he had 4. That's an interesting bad game at Princeton, but he did have 12 boards, which was his season high. 4 turnovers against Seton Hall, 3 against Penn State, 4 against Ohio State, 4 against Texas A&M, 3 against Kennesaw State. Interesting. He's kind of all over the place. I don't hate these numbers as much as I thought I was going to. I'm glad I'm looking at these now, because watching the eye test looks a lot different than these are. Now, these percentages are all over the place, though. That's the one thing. Against meaningful opponents like Kennesaw State, 6 of 17 is crazy. Notre Dame, 4 of 12 is crazy. Alabama, he was 9 of 18. That's respectable. And Alabama was, I want to say, like, here we go. They were ranked 9th. Texas A&M ranked 20th. He was 10 of 20. You know, that's a good game. That's a great game, even. 6 of 16 against Ohio State. Against Penn State, 6 of 14. Seton Hall, he shot good, 9 of 15. Princeton, 6 of 16. That's not good. That was where he went 1 of 5 from 3. Columbus, even though he shot 1 of 4 from 3, was 11 of 18 overall. Or, excuse me, Columbia. Ooh. Is this season high? This has to be. 16 of 29, 55%, 4 of 8 from 3. 3 of 8 from the free throw line, though. That's interesting. For a total of 39 points against Indiana. They lost that one badly. But he had almost half his team. No, he had more than half his team's offensive production from a scoring perspective. Interesting. Then he followed that up with the Wisconsin game, going 3 of 16, shooting 18% from the field, 1 of 5 from 3, with a total of 9 points, 5 rebounds, and he fouled out. 7 rebounds, and he fouled out. 2 of 6 from the free throw line. What happens in some of these games? The consistency isn't there in a lot of these. I thought it was going to be like a shooter's ebbing and flowing, but I'm not seeing any of that. I'm just seeing bad, and then good, and then the flashes of greatness. He had a game of 39 points against, who did I say that was? Indiana. Then he had 30 against Penn State, 13 of 15, 86% from the field, 4 or 5 from 3. So he had a great game there. He didn't shoot any free throws, but he also fouled out. Never mind. But still, 30 points, shooting 86% from the field, 4 or 5 from 3-point range. That's a damn good game. Against, who is this? Northwestern. 13 of 20, 65%, 5 of 8 from 3, 6 of 6 from the free throw line, 37 points. Those are the type of games that you would expect a top 3 pick in the draft to have. But then he also manages to have games where he just does borderline Nathaniel. Like he literally followed up that 37-point performance with another, mind you, he did that in 35 minutes. He followed that up against Michigan in 35 minutes again. 3 of 15, 0 of 7 from 3, 4 of 6 from the free throw line, 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block, 3 personal fouls, 3 turnovers, total of 10 points. So it's like some games he looks really, really good. In other games, like, what are you doing, brother? I'm gonna watch some highlights. I don't think I want to do him crazy and do lowlights since we did draft him and it doesn't seem like we're gonna trade him. We ended up trading with the Washington Wizards anyways. I took it down already. We ended up trading with the Washington Wizards, and when we did it, I thought that we were going to literally switch both of our picks, but we didn't. We just switched the second ones that we ended up grabbing. For us, we ended up getting Walter Clayton Jr. And as much as I love Trey Johnson, I think that arguably he was the best shooter in this draft. From a mechanical standpoint, Walter Clayton Jr. just does things to me. Like, that actually sounds kind of crazy. Walter Clayton Jr. is one of those guys where, obviously, let me pull up these measurables. Oh wait, hold up. Give me 1 second, y'all. Give me 1 second. Same thing. All right. Walter Clayton Jr. I'm on the wrong side, aren't I? Yeah, I am. All right. Basketball. Come on. Let's try it now. Walter Clayton Jr. Dude, what the? That's fantastic. I love that so much. It just made me so happy. All right, fine. We'll just duplicate this. Even though I don't love Ace Bailey, more so from a personality standpoint and which has transpired. Was good, Hank. I appreciate that, man. I don't hate Ace Bailey. I don't want it to come off that way, but I really don't like the way he's been interacting recently. This is one of those things where, like, with Kyle Filipowski last year when he had the drama with his girlfriend and everything, that was like stuff that it had nothing to do with him as a player or him in the way that he's going to approach the game, which is why we were able to get him at the 32. And I was like, dude, that's crazy good value. This guy's a lottery pick, and we got him, and we didn't have to move up at all, right? Cody Williams was, I'll save Cody Williams slander for later, but because he still has an opportunity to get better, right? He just needs to get in the weight room like Taylor Hendricks did. But Isaiah Collier was basically who I thought he was going to be. He was still turnover prone, but he was really, really effective at just being in the game and just commanding the floor, running plays. Hey, you became a member? Appreciate that. It's one of those things where Isaiah Collier, to me, was going to be turnover prone, but he was also going to try and command the floor as much as possible, and he was going to go for assists. And when you start chasing assists as a rookie, it becomes an incentive to you. You want the next guy to you want the pass to be crisp because you want your shooter to hit the shot because it looks good on paper. And even if your shot isn't falling, you can stay on the floor because you're creating meaningful offensive snaps. That's something that I loved. Kyle Filipowski as well was effective offensively. Defensively, he wasn't very lead-footed on the perimeter as I thought he would be. I didn't think he was going to be terrible, but he wasn't as bad as I thought he was going to be either. He was just a little bit better than anticipated, so to speak. Now, I love this pickup. Walter Clayton Jr. I love this pickup. Granted, he's not very big. It's not super crazy, but the one thing that Isaiah Collier can't do is shoot. And somewhere in the back of my mind, I think that we are going to end up trading away John Collins, who opted into his deal yesterday. $26.5 million, but it's an expiring contract, obviously, because it's a player option. So he's going to be very movable. And the numbers that he put up last year were his best on the Jazz. Matter of fact, they got him right here. We could look at this right now. Open that up in a new tab. I'm bouncing all over the place, but I mean, I have time. I just got off work, so before I lay down, since I didn't, shout out Sporty Spence, my boy Spence. He was cutting up. I watched his live when he was breaking it down his way. All right, John Collins, and we'll also pull up. I will leave this open actually, but I'm gonna open up Colin Sexton in the tab. Y'all know how I love Colin Sexton. All right, John Collins last year.
He's got 17 here tonight.
They just play chill. All right. He did again only play in 40 games. Dang, it was only 40? I thought it was like 50. Oh well. He was that good to where they needed to, he was for him to be injured, for him to be day to day. You know what I'm saying? But managed 31 starts, 30 minutes a game, 52.5, almost 53% from the field. Shooting 3.7 3-pointers, which is the most. Yes, it's career high, technically speaking, and also ties his efficiency for his second best ever. Granted, I would say this was his best 3-point shooting season he's ever had. Also, highest in free throws. Yeah, highest free throw percentage as well, with the second highest number of free throw attempts. Nearly doubles what he had the previous year across more games. Granted, the sample size is only of 40 games, so you could argue if you add on 20 more games, he doesn't shoot those same numbers. But he was so hot, I believe that he would have. There weren't very many cold streaks from him. Again, 8+ rebounds for the fourth time in his career. Yeah, fourth time in his career, 2 assists. Only the second time in his career where he put together 2 assists per game, averaged a block a game, which is in line with everything else, and averaged a steal a game, which is the most of his career. Personal fouls, roughly in line with everything else on the lower end, though. And turnovers, as a result of his high offensive production, doubled, basically. I didn't even peep that. But 19 points a game, which is the most that he's had since his third year in Atlanta, when everybody was like really hyping him up and whatnot. So he put together 19, 8, and 2, shooting almost 50-40, 50-40-85 splits. Was good, Adam. And to me, this is one of those things where if you're a contending team and you need somebody to slide in at the big spot, you might be willing to take on that contract on the lowest of keys, because it's not as though he was a cone defensively. He had 40 and 4, almost had 40 and 40, so it was basically 1 apiece. But to me, John Collins is definitely a more movable asset this year than he was the previous year. And after he just opted into his player. What is the thing I'm thinking of? Sorry. Since he opted into the last year of his deal, it just went. So I think that he's going to be extremely movable. I think that he will get moved as a result. And because he had such a stellar season, there was news about us trying to get somebody, about us trying to talk to the Celtics. I want to say it was about Jaylen Brown. I don't want to take on that contract. I don't think he's worth $300 million. I swore up and down he wasn't worth $300 million. They got one Reagan last year. This year rather. He left much to be desired. We'll say that. Nevertheless, if we decide to keep John Collins, that will be very telling for what we end up doing this upcoming year. That said, Colin Sexton, another guy that's going to be extremely movable this year.
Unable to get the ball to Wemby, and then
don't care. I mean, I care, but not that much. 18.5, 2.5, 4, a little over 4 assists, 48% shooting from the field. I mean, you love to see that. There's not enough here. All right. So
unable to get the ball to Wemby.
All listen. I'm 2 seconds from just. Let's just mute everything. Yeah, let's just mute everything. All right. So 60 plus games played. They set him quite a bit at the end, of course, as well. 48% shooting on 13.5 field goal attempts, most in a Utah Jazz uniform, actually. Shooting 48% from the field, 40% from three-point range. This is actually the highest he's ever shot in his career. Also the second most, aside from his, probably arguably his peak year, I guess you would say, in Cleveland. On 4.3 attempts, 40.5% shooting, 86.5% shooting from the free throw line, which is his career best on 4 attempts as well, which is in line with the usual number of attempts he gets. 2.7 rebounds, in line with everything else. 4.2 assists, only third best in his career, just down from last year. Obviously, having Isaiah Collier on the roster as well changed things a lot for him, and then nothing substantial anywhere else. Turnovers were, in line with everything else. And then another 18-point season. So him also, I believe he's a expiring contract, if memory serves me right, and his is a little bit more movable or more comfortable for other teams to take on. Obviously, there's been different packages involving the Lakers and a couple other playoff-ready teams that have seemed like they would be interested in taking on Colin Sexton, and rightfully so. I believe that he deserves to play for the winning team. I think Lowry deserves that as well. But at the same time, I would love to see them win here in Utah. But the way the roster's constructed right now, we don't really know much about that. Now, why do they have him listed 6? Dude, just make it 6'8". Stop lying. Stop lying, because now he's already wiry, but let's not do that. Jordan Clarkson is one guy that I am concerned about, though. Because I distinctly remember saying at the beginning of last year that I thought he was going to bounce back. I thought that even though his trade value had dipped, he was only 32. Yeah, so he's 33 now. He just turned 33. So he was 32 this season, 31 the season before. I was like, he's 31. He's coming out of his prime, but he shouldn't be scraps just yet. He was. And it was kind of concerning for me because overall, if you look at these numbers, like, he's never been hyper efficient. Okay, yeah, we get that. But like, ever since coming to Utah, 42%, 41%, 44%, that was a good year. 2022, 2023 for him. Then it went 40%, 41%, and then that by the way, that 41% was the lowest field goal percentage he's ever had, and he did it on more attempts than the next lowest. And then this past year, on slightly less attempts, shot worse. 3-point percentage did end up going up, so that was nice. Took less threes, so that was probably also a part of it. Well, more threes than last year, but less threes than the 3 previous years with the Jazz. His free throw percentage did go down. Admittedly, it was only on 4 attempts, but he's always been a low number kind of guy, but he's never really shot in the 70s, period. At the end of the day, though, still 16 points, so not a career low in that department. He still has value. I don't know what the value for him looks like, though, because of the issues that we've had with him from an efficiency standpoint. Now, you could argue that there's going to be a lot of contenders that also want him. So if there's 3 guys that are going to end up getting traded, it's going to be Jordan Clarkson, it's going to be John Collins, and it's going to be Colin Sexton to round out the 3, in my opinion. And if we look at our roster as it's currently constructed, now that we have Ace Bailey, did they add him? Did they add him? I don't think they added him. How did you add one of the rookies but not both of the rookies, dude? You know what? I'm not even surprised. This is. Oh, they updated our logo. Woo! All right, Cody Williams, non-factor. Oscar Tshiebwe, cool, but not really a factor. Jaden Springer, love Jaden Springer, but not really a factor. Colin Sexton, probably tradable. Bryce Sensabaugh needs more minutes. Potter, not super big. Svi, not super big on that. KJ Martin should be interesting. Lowry, for obvious reasons, interesting. Walker Kessler, if we don't end up trading him this offseason, it'll be interesting to see how he performs this year. See if he can get those free throws under control. Even if he can't shoot the 3 ball, can he be efficient from the elbows, perhaps? Because we already know in DHOs, he looks really, really good. We did a lot of those last season, and his assist number should have gone up as a result of that, now that I think about it. Maybe oh no, yeah. And then less games too. Granted, he did start 58 of them, but 7 more minutes of action. He averaged 1.7 assists. So it's nothing, insane. But from a rebounding standpoint, offensive rebounds, dude, almost 5 offensive rebounds, about 8 defensive rebounds, like 11 and 12. That's lovely. A lot of people felt like he didn't improve enough last year. I think he improved a lot. Now, obviously, he wasn't super hyper efficient, but before he was only taking 5 field goal attempts a night, so up to 7. Granted, we know he can't shoot, and we definitely know he can't shoot 52%. Good God Almighty, that's not good. And that brings into conversation how much value do you put on a guy like Walker Kessler? Because at the end of the day, there's gonna be limits to what you can do with him. There's gonna be limits to what type of playoff situations you can have him on the floor in, because you don't want to get hack-a-shacked. You don't want him to get the ball, them to basically funnel the ball into him, and then the bigs just foul and put him on the line. Because not only do you have your worst free throw shooter at the line shooting for your possession to put points on the board, you have your best rebounder at the free throw line, far away from the rim to rebound the obvious miss that is about to happen. But I don't want to trade Walker just yet. He showed me enough success last year that I think he's worth keeping around a little bit more, unless you see something absolutely crazy that makes sense to add to the roster where you're like, oh my goodness, this deal is just so incredible. We don't want to pay. I saw somebody say we shouldn't pay Walker Kessler $20 million a year, and that was crazy. Maybe it's just me. But when you're a league leading block artist, you're a league leading offensive rebounder, and just overall you're phenomenal on the glass. You finally stepped up and came into your own, finishing through contact at the rim. You're dunking the ball. You're going up ferociously. You're not just sitting there laying the ball up. His year 2, his sophomore year, when he had that slump where he was just laying the ball up and doing reverses and everything, instead of dunking the fucking basketball, it blew me. It made me feel some sort of way. So coming into year 3, seeing him actually finish plays, it meant something to me. Him being able to be a defensive stopper, him being able to slide his feet on the perimeter and feeling comfortable. Yes, we were dead last defensively, but we were supposed to be. We were tanking. We were sitting there running out Cody Williams in the last 4 minutes of a close game. We had no intentions on winning those close games. That's why he was out there on the floor. He could not hold his own. His frame is too wiry. His frame was too wiry. He's long, yes, but if you sit there and you stretch out, it's kind of like you have 2 dolls, right? One is made of nothing great. Let's say you make one out of snow, right? Snow's pretty movable, but if you pack in enough of it, it's pretty sturdy. But then you had Cody Williams, who was basically paper mache. No matter how much paper mache you pack together, it's not going to hold up to anything, right? So I don't fault Walker Kessler for any of our defensive inabilities last year, because the goal was to lose games. He was effective at protecting the rim without fouling in a lot of situations. He was able to move his feet very, very well. He didn't look tired or really winded in the uptick in minutes that he was getting. So to me, it was one of those things where I really appreciated what I saw out of him. Yes, I am. I'm on both. Yeah, I'm trying this multi-streaming thing to see if it works. It was one of those things where I just greatly appreciated what I saw out of Walker Kessler. So $20 million a year to me, as it stands right now, is perfect, reasonable volume to pay him. That's not crazy to me. I mean, we're paying Jordan Clarkson almost $15 million for a plug and play, and it's not working, right? We're paying John Collins $26 million, and you could argue that he's not as effective or as important to the long-term building of the team, but we still paid him that money. I just feel like there's a lot of things to be done. I am interested to see how Taylor Hendricks looks coming back this year. Johnny is either going to have to find a moment to matter this year, or he will not matter. He'll just be a guy that just kind of comes in when we really need a spot-up shooter. He'll be that great 13th or 14th guy on the bench when we go on a deep playoff run, right? He might play 6 to 8 minutes here or there sparingly in certain games, in certain situations where we need shooters on the floors. I think Johnny's one of those guys, because even in the games last year where he didn't play a lot of minutes, or he came in just at the most random of times, He was usually hot. He wasn't really cold, and I greatly appreciated that. But I don't see a world where he has a lot of burn, especially the way we're drafting this year. And we did end up trading away one of our second round picks. I'm glad we did that. I thought that I wanted us to pick no more than 3 players. So we're down to 3 picks as we speak. I would really love if we just traded away the second round pick and tried to make things more comfortable for us next year, because I don't love how we our lone first round pick is dependent on if we're top 8 or not top 8. Because if it's top 8 protected, otherwise it goes to the Thunder, who I want to say have 4 first rounders next year. It's 3 or 4. I don't know if that includes ours or not. 20 million for Walker's worth. That's what I'm thinking. Keontae George is on the chopping block. This is year 3. This is opportunity to take the step forward like Walker Kessler did, or to not do it and become expendable. Hate to tell him, there's Walter Clayton. I don't know why I didn't see that before. So you have Walter Clayton now, who's an efficient merchant. I love the way he shoots the ball. And then you have Isaiah Collier, who isn't super efficient, but then again, neither is Keontae George, and Keontae George clearly isn't a point guard. So it's like, okay, Keontae, if we slide you to the 2, now you're in a world where you're competing with Elijah Harkless was an interesting player. He's not probably going to get much PT, but he was interesting. So, are we sitting there? Are we going to say maybe Walter Clayton runs the 2, or no? Isaiah Collier and Walter Clayton are probably going to fight it out for the 1. Keontae George in no world is better than Colin Sexton. So are we just going to sit there and trade away? If we trade away Colin Sexton, then okay, the minutes for Keontae George this year become very clear and prominent. But if we don't, there's not going to be that many minutes to go around for him, because Walter Clayton is going to end up taking those minutes. Walter Clayton's not going to let that go. And I want to cover a little bit of tape. How long have I been? I haven't been live for too long, have I? I hope not. I'm gonna milk this clock as much as I can. Yeah. Oh, dang! It's been 40 minutes. I didn't even realize. So happy about Ace. Hey, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope that Ace is phenomenal. I hope that I have to get on. At the end of the season, I get on my knees on camera and put my forehead to the ground, making a traditional Japanese style apology, because he's just so great. I have to buy a jersey. Like, y'all can't see right now, but that's usually where I record most of my videos. The jerseys back there, there's a couple of people's jerseys I need to get that aren't even on the Jazz, actually. I need an Anthony Edwards jersey. That's one of them. I also need Pistons. He almost had the 3-point record, or almost had the most threes, but ended up out shooting him this year. There's a couple guys whose jerseys, even a bunch of role players whose jerseys I really want to get because I just really love their seasons. If Ace makes me buy his jersey, then he got it. I'm not gonna lie. I'll put on the jersey, I'll get on both knees, and I will apologize because I was wrong. I want to be wrong. I desperately want to be wrong. I want to believe. I desperately want to believe that he is somebody I want to believe he is the difference maker, despite him not wanting to come to Utah because he wants to be the number 1 guy. I want him to learn how to play in a system. At Rutgers, there was no system that concrete, finitely put him in place, and every game you expected him to do the same thing. It just wasn't there. So I'm hoping that Will Hardy and these guys can give him structure. And to Will's credit, the mantra has always been, I don't care that you're a rookie. I don't care that we invested a pick in you. Either you're going to bust your behind in practice and then you get minutes in games, or you bust your behind in the G League and then you get minutes in games, or you're just not going to get minutes. And I love that idea. Now, did that stay true for everybody? No. But it was pretty consistent over the course of the season, and I have no reason to believe that it will change this upcoming year. Austin Aries being added to the front office was interesting. Him saying that we're not, quote, rebuilding. We're trying to be competitive. Yeah, we'll see about that one. I don't like liars. That's one thing I don't like. I can appreciate when a front office person knows that they're going to tank, but they don't want to call it tank. And they say, well, we're going to give the young guys a lot of opportunities to play and develop and show what they're worth. Okay, you're telling me you're taking without telling me you're taking, but you're not lying to me. I can respect that, right? We can be friends. I understand. There's a mutual understanding here of what's about to happen, and I'm okay with it. I can accept that that's our fate. But when you tell me that we're going to compete, if we do not compete, there's going to be a disconnect. because now I can't trust you at your word. No matter what interview you say, I don't care if you sit there and say, "Oh man, we're about to bring in this. We're about to sit here and trade for Nikola Jokic." No, we're not. I won't believe you until I see it in writing from Shams or NBA Central. Or for some reason this past season, Centel seemed to be getting a couple facts right before anybody else, which was crazy because usually people are getting Centelled in the worst way. He said, "Oh, TJ, what's up, man? Who did I want going into the draft? I wanted Trey Johnson. The efficiency was there. And a lot of things for me is drafting players to me is kind of like getting a girlfriend, because you have the ones where they're ready, they're happy because you're showing them attention, and they're going to reciprocate that energy, and they're going to go very hard because you're giving them an opportunity to be in that relationship, right? The players, they're just glad to be in the NBA. You decided to draft them, and they said, you want me. Out of everybody that came out of college this year, you want me. I appreciate that. I'm going to bust my tail and show you why that was the right decision. And then you have some guys or some girls where they are hard to get. Ace came off as extremely hard to get, so hard to get that he didn't want you. And it's like, at some point, if you keep trying on the hard to get people, it's going to be harassment and you're going to get arrested. And Ace Bailey was one of those guys that was giving me the ick a little bit in that way, because I don't want to sit there and just drag you into things and be like, yeah, you're with us now. Because you don't want, you're verbally telling people your camp is saying he does not want to go here. And you're not correcting them, saying, well, whatever team ends up drafting me, I will give my best effort. However, I would prefer to go to this team, and this team. If you do that, I have no issue. Because there's some situations that are going to be better for you and some that you just don't really feel the most comfortable with. That's perfectly fine. But when the news comes out that says, hey, I don't rock with these 5 guys right here. Yeah, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me. I want nothing to do with you. I only want to talk to these 3 people. Things start getting a little bit interesting. But again, you said grab the camera for a Lamar edit. Yo, you're sick. He said, I'm not a Jazz fan, but I kind of like the upside pick with Ace. It's dangerous. Trey's it all. Yes. Watching Trey in interviews, like listening to Ace in interviews is okay, right? You could tell he likes basketball. But Trey is one of those players where he's going to be in sponsorships. He's going to have commercials. Like, we're going to see Trey on our TV screen because he can talk. He has the gift of gab and power to persuade. The way he says things just sounds believable. It sounds like he believes it himself. It doesn't sound like he's selling you something. It doesn't sound like he's thinking of, well, what do they want to hear? He just says it right off the top of his head, and it makes sense. And it's something that I really greatly appreciate. Now, back on topic, because I sat there and just swam all over the place. Yeah, Walter Clayton Jr. I like Walter Clayton Jr., right? Can we get some game splits from college? So postseason 23, 23, 13, 30, 34, 11. 3 of 10 shooting 107 from 3 range. That's not good, but 11 of 18, 5 of 8, 7 of 14, 3 of 8, 3 of 9, 2 of 6, 6 of 14, 5 of 8, 6 of 11, 4 of 9. So you know he loves to shoot threes. 7.7 in the postseason last year in the college playoffs. 7.7 3-point attempts, shooting 43.5%. 22 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, right? 3.2 turnovers. Not really great turnovers, but he's extremely ball dominant. So it makes sense. How about that Nets draft? Terrible. Yo, Tyson was good, my guy. TJ, the fact that the Nets had 5 first-round picks, and I can't tell you how any of them was a really, really good, valuable pickup is crazy. They ended up reaching and getting Edgar at 8. I had Edgar pegged between 13 and 17. They should have been able to trade back and still get him. The fact that they reached so hard, granted, they had a lot of first round picks to burn. They had 5. But if you're sitting there drafting 1/6 of the first round and you don't manage to get anybody where I'm like, hey, that's a cornerstone piece right there. That person has a lot of that, the upside on this person. Now, I want to say they did get Ryan Traore. Or I want to say they got Traore, which I'm interested to see how he goes, because he did go kind of low in my head, but I also didn't actually look at his numbers to justify that thought process. At the same time, Igor has a lot of upside. He has a lot of potential upside. He's overseas, obviously. The brain works like a supercomputer. Pocket passes galore, beautiful. Wraparound passes, beautiful. He loves to do this jump skip pass that gets to the corner every time. I wonder if it's still going to work in the NBA. I would love to see it happen, but he sees the floor really freaking well. Throws lobs really well. He was throwing passes so pinpoint accurate and that his teammates didn't think the ball was going to get there, so it slipped out of their hands. That's what you want to see. But he can't shoot worth a lick. That's the problem. That's the problem. He probably shoots worse than Isaiah Collier, or like on par. They are kind of similar. Traore is a little bit more comfortable going downhill, though. That's the difference. Demon really wasn't comfortable driving the lane. He did take a lot of floaters. He did take a lot of fallaways. His layup package wasn't as sophisticated as I was kind of hoping. And one thing that was really bad for him, he dribbles really upright, and he doesn't protect the ball with his body or anything well. He doesn't have advanced handles. It's lacking. Ace Bayless is also lacking. That's one thing. That's what led to a lot of his difficult shot making. You said this ceiling is Josh Giddey. Just give it up. Hey, this is going to sound crazy. Josh Giddey will never be your number one on a championship caliber team. But Josh Giddey could be your fourth best player. That Josh the way he was hooping last year, as long as he gets a little bit better with his jumper and a little bit more comfortable with it, Josh Giddey could be the fourth best player on a team. You know, he could be that guy, that glue guy. He never really has a game where he matters, where you need a Josh Giddey virtuoso game. You don't need one of those. But he will do just enough not to mess things up for your team. And you need guys like that. So I think Ryan Traore and Igor could fall into that niche kind of, especially for Igor, because the dribbling package is essentially the same. Signs are leading to Sexton gone. Yeah, it's getting to that point. It makes me very sad, actually, for obvious reasons, but it's going to happen. Who am I hoping for in the second round? Honestly, I was surprised we grabbed Walter Clayton because I thought we were going to go for a forward. The fact that we didn't tells me that maybe we aren't going to trade John Collins, but I thought we were. Granted, John Collins' minutes will end up probably going to the uninjured. Oh, my brain just blanked out. He's coming back. Taylor Hendricks, thank you. So we do have, obviously, Taylor Hendricks, Kyle Filipowski, Walker Kessler, Lowry. Who else matters? You could argue that Bryce Sensabaugh takes up some of the forward minutes in certain situations. Maybe you get some Oscar Tshiebwe. So maybe it is too packed, but I think in the second round we're probably going to go. We might go for a lankier wing just to try something, but I feel like we might go for a big that can shoot. Probably not the same defensive upside as Walker Kessler, but also probably not the same. They'll probably be slightly better defensively than Kyle Filipowski, but slightly better offensively than Walker Kessler, which makes them not great at either, but serviceable enough to play minutes on the floor, if that makes sense. And since we did end up trading away that one draft pick, I think whoever we end up getting regardless is going to be sitting in the G League this year for a substantial period of time. We originally had two firsts. My brain. Did we have two firsts? Yeah. We had 2 second round picks though. We ended up trading away the one to the Wizards when we ended up getting Walter Clayton Jr. In that deal, we ended up giving up one of them. So now we're down to 3 total picks, 2 of them already being taken. I want to say our pick is at the 53rd spot overall, so it has almost no value. But, you know, we could always trade out of it. I wouldn't be mad at that. In fact, I might encourage that. But if we don't, then I'm also not going to sit here and flip out. Do I think it was worth trading up for Clayton? Yes, I do. I'm very happy about that, actually. Yeah. And it's I'm gonna I hope it lets me actually cover some of the tape, because one thing that I really like about him is the way he shoots is so mechanically pause. It's mechanically sexy. Like watching him shoot a jumper is so sound. I love it. The ball comes up the exact same way. It doesn't matter what position he's in. The release is always seamless. It comes up. It looks like a machine the way it comes off. And when you're a guy at his height at just 6'3", you need to be able to get that release off fast. You need to have consistent footwork, and you need to make sure that release point is high enough to make things make sense. Because if it doesn't, then you're not going to be in the league for long if you make it that far. And his shot selection in college was a little bit questionable, but the fact that he could still be efficient and shoot almost 40% from three-point range while shooting 30-footers, 35-footers half the time, it dare I say, he might be the polar opposite of Isaiah Collier. Granted, they're both not very great defensively, but Isaiah Collier can't shoot worth a lick. Walter Clayton can shoot the lights out of a gym. And honestly, I'm very happy that we moved up for him. I didn't think we were going to end up moving up for him, but I'm thoroughly pleased by that. Love Ace's game. In another world, he's a first pick. I want him to want to be in Utah. As long as Ace comes, if Ace takes the mentality of, I need to show you guys why I should be the number one option, then I'm all for it. I want to see Ace be the first one in the gym, asking questions, talking to Lowry every day, talking to Colin Sexton if he's still on the team every day, talking to any wing that he can get any information out of, talking to Taylor Hendricks, working with Taylor Hendricks, because Taylor Hendricks, never forget, he put on 20 pounds of muscle the past offseason before he obviously had his untimely injury during the season. He put on weight. Ace Bailey is only 200 pounds at 6'7", 6'8" in shoes probably. So if he can throw on 20 pounds, that's going to do wonders for him. And having those conversations, understanding and doing the similar workouts, the trainers are going to get him right, but also understanding how that can translate to moving on the court. That's a conversation between him and Taylor Hendricks, because Taylor Hendricks just experienced that. And he also experienced the negatives of that, which was the injury that came as a result of it. But I think he'll be ready. Honestly, I don't know. Honestly, I haven't watched enough tape on him to feel comfortable taking a stance and being like, oh yeah, this is exactly what I could see him doing. But I'll tell you that I'm a little bit higher on him than most people tend to be, as it stands right now. Granted, another thing, because I just haven't seen enough tape on him to criticize him and be like, oh yeah, you're bad at such and such. Let's see here. Oh, all right. Let's look at regular season games. Golly, there's a lot of games in here. I love this. You see all these green? You see all these wins? I love this. All right, 29, 9, 12, 25, 17, 7, 21, 19, 27, 25, 12, 8, 12, 33, 7, 12, 28. Interesting. That's it. Okay, it normalizes right here. All right, makes sense. 28, 19, 16, 17, 10, 19, 19, 10, 18, 13, 18, 10, 22, 23. Quarterfinal, semifinal, 18, final, 22, wins that. 22 again. All right. Can we get these total? What are the total splits? Stats. Switch to college basketball. Yeah, and he is a 4-year guy, so that also attributes to the fact that he is so systematically built. 18 points, 3.7 rebounds, 4.2 assists, 45% shooting from the field, 38.5% shooting, 7.8 3-pointers a game, shooting 87% from the free throw line. That's what we like to see. That's what I love to see. Turnovers, though, well, 4.2 to 2.4. That's not bad. That's not bad. I can definitely live with that. Steals, 1.2 steals. All right, that's acceptable. Surprising that he managed to average half a block, though. That's really surprising. All right. Let's see. I wanna believe. I want to believe. So I'm gonna watch some tape that forces me to believe. Hopefully this is a good video. I just grabbed this random guy's video. No bias. He said, thoughts on Cody going forward? Cody needs to put on weight. If he comes into the season still weighing 170, 180, 190, he's going to be in the G League for the entire year all over again. And I don't know if it gets better for him. I wanted to get better for him. Don't get it twisted. I definitely wanted to get better for him. But the size was the biggest issue coming into this, last season, and it didn't get better. Cody gets a ton of hate, but I think at the end of last season, he was doing decent. I think he'll be decent. If he puts on, the thing is, I think the biggest issue was everybody drafted him high because they looked at J-Dub in OKC and they were like, wait, that's his brother? Oh my goodness, he's going to be so great. Yes, somebody get him. And then we ended up grabbing him. But he didn't have enough to, you know, there wasn't enough on him or in him, pause, just yet to make it make sense for him to be getting starter level minutes at the NBA level. And I do think that he's going to spend a lot of time in the G League again this year. But if he comes out and he weighs like 215-ish, we could see an entirely different version of Cody. And I would love to see that. But it just comes down to how much work he puts in the weight room, how well he eats, and where we go from there. What's good, Logic? Back in the days, chasing 1K subs. Tyson, I could never forget. Tyson, what you mean? You were right there watching the whole time. You, Logic, man, look, I'll never forget that. You said watch this 39-point game? We'll watch that, actually. We're gonna skim through this. This is 26 minutes. I don't want to. Oh, hold on. I don't want. I'm not one of those people that likes to. How do I put this? At the college level, when I look at players, I want to know who you're playing against, and that determines how impressive the play that you made was. Now, that doesn't make me a hater. That just means I look at things in the way of, I want to see good basketball, and I'm not going to credit you. I don't want to credit you for something and say he should be able to do this at the NBA level when the whole time you were doing it against somebody that couldn't compete with you at your current level back then. So, of course, you wouldn't be able to repeat it against guys that are at your level or above your level. I don't want to set unrealistic expectations for him, actually. That's okay. That's okay. Help side, that's okay. I like that. I do like that. I can't lie. What kind of timeout? This pissed me off. This just hold up. All right. On this drive, right? You're supposed to stunt and recover to the shooter. Or in this case, it seems like it's a defensive miscommunication because obviously he's behind the play now. So in theory, he slides into the way because this appears to be their 5-man on the court. He should slide into. Is this the best the quality is? Golly, this is terrible. All right, whatever. So in theory, he slides over. He takes the corner man, which alleviates the pass out. And by him splitting the difference between and kind of just hedging a little bit, it makes it so that he can't just get to the other side of the rim and have an easy one. He has to overthrow the pass or get creative to get the ball over here. Or just stop in the lane and try and cook something up, right? Miscommunication. He just slides out the way, just gives him the lane, concedes it right here. He could just really go up right there because he's literally behind him. He stunts like he's going to go help and then doesn't help. And he reverse dunked. So is it impressive? Yes. But at the same time, that defense was just so piss poor on that play. It pissed me off. That's nice. No help. All right. Nice. Nice contest. All right. Probably won't happen at the NBA level, but still nice contest. Love to see somebody get out on the fast break and move. All right. Probably won't get too many of those at the NBA level. Still nice. Doesn't change anything. I want to put this on ×2 speed, but it's not giving me enough. Let me see that mechanic. I want to see those mechanics again. Confident. Okay. I need to see a healthy diet to the point. Okay. I need to see a healthy shot diet of his jumpers. Hold on. Here we go. Nice. Hold the release. There we go. All right. Some more. What do you see? What do you see? What do you see? Pull up. Okay. The big definitely should have stunned it better, but I don't care. Ballsy shot attempt. I like it, though. That's why you're top 3. All right, let's go. Throw ahead. Slow. Pulls up. Interesting shot selection, but it went in, so it's good, right? As long as the shot goes in, it's a good shot. Now, when the shot doesn't go in, that's when we really grade it. Nice little action right there. Open. I want to see something crafty, though. Completely unnecessary shot, by the way. Hold on. But, it was a my turn, your turn offense, so it makes sense. Again, won't happen at the NBA level. I don't know why they're looking at each other like that. They did that to themselves. Drive downhill. Interesting pull. It went in that time, though. Doesn't matter. All right. Nice and easy. Yeah, these highlights aren't teaching me anything. All right. So, 39 point per 59 points. I low-key want to see his best game and his worst game, but I want to hype him up so I can feel more comfortable about this pick. Because my biggest issue with him, again, is the personality part. I don't hate him as a player. You already know my thoughts about Ace, but I'll hold judgment fully because it could have been his agent wanted realistically tank his value to teams. He should have went to the teams, bombed it on purpose. Yeah, I'm hoping that this was like his parents said, no, this is a great idea for you. Just trust us. And trust your agent. Why he had Sharif Cooper's dad as his agent is crazy to me. Sharif Cooper's dad couldn't even get his son. Let me stop because Ash Cash sucked the powers out of him. Nah, I'm playing. But that as his agent, which is interesting. All right, let's see. All right. Ballsy take. I'm not mad at it. Right here. You have obviously slide action. Just he's gonna slide down. He rotates over to replace, and he should slide to be in an available spot. He's just kind of in the nowhere land, nowheresville. At the next level, this will not be a shot attempt that he can attempt on especially with his frame as it stands. This is not a shot attempt that he can live with, right? He's gonna have to be able to get it over there or get some sort of dump off, something of that nature, because he's not gonna be able to just move people like that, for lack of better phrasing. But it worked that time. Good take. The fact that he doesn't shy away from contact is also very good. All right, surveying the floor, pull up long two. Number one. All right. Still a good amount of questionable shots in this vid. Hey, that's what we're here for. That's what makes it good, because we want to praise him for what he does well, and also talk about, number one, what he will not be able to get away with at the next level that he did get away with here, and what he didn't get away with at this level that he also will not be able to get away with at the next level. That's all. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now that shot, very Carmelo-esque, right? Very Carmelo-esque. Subtle jab, pull. Why he pulled it while standing with his back leg on the three-point line, gonna have to train that out of him, because, again, he didn't shoot terrible from beyond the arc. So if that's a three-pointer, fantastic. The fact that it did go right here, his contested long two percentage, like the sheer number of shot attempts he took from that range, was egregious. And the percentages that he was not hitting it at was also a problem. But again, got to give him the opportunity, right? Got to give him the opportunity. All right. Don't know what's going on here. All right. Again, too easy. They called a foul on that? Just a clumsy big man, but still, I wouldn't call that. All right. Let's see. Again, yo, this is food. This is food. He loves what he sees. Holy. Can't even be mad at that. All right, downhill. Sees that. Trying to... I see what he wanted to see. All right, so coming down right here. The idea is that your big will screen just to give you enough time to get an open jumper right here. Obvious, I don't think he wants to completely curl this to the rim and go for a lay, considering where the big is positioned behind him. And there's not enough space for him to create a gap to allow the shooter to get a completely clean look. At the same time, he definitely was trying to get him the big to slide up, just a little bit of shoulder, just a little bit of action to give me a little bit of space. But that turnaround went in, so it doesn't matter, right? I see yeah, he's just abusing this guy. All right, let's see. All right. Through contact. That's not going to go at the next level, but I like the fact that he was willing and he wanted to and was willing to do it at this one. All right, coming around. Interesting shot attempt. I'm not mad at that. That's a tough shot taken, tough shot made. 3-point off catch and shoot on the move. I like that. Oh, yeah, big and... Oh, he's cooked. Hold on. This is a rep I like to see. All right, so let's talk about it. Everybody's communicating. Their back line is communicating. He's in Nowheresville right now. Buddy's not even paying attention to him. You have the big on the island, right, above the 3-point line. There's no immediate help, meaning as soon as he gets off balance, because this guy in particular has been off balance for the majority of this game. But once he's off balance one way, as soon as you duck in on the other side, it's over with. Boom. He hit him with a hezzy, and he got lead-footed, opens up his hips, dips his shoulder down, enters in, right? Now, there's going to be a lot of availability here, but there's no certain shooter because of the way he's sliding down, right? So I'm not mad that he doesn't pass his ball at all. The man going to the corner is going to be my immediate read if I enter. Once I get to about the Big Ten logo right here, if I don't love what I see and I don't want that floater, I don't want to try and take a push shot from right here, I'm looking at the corner because I saw from where I was positioned before, nobody's giving him the time of day. Interesting shot selection, but it went in. Again, neither of these two guys is a viable pass out option for a shot. This would be probably the guy, me personally, right? That's where I'm going with the ball, but I respect that he said, I'm him, and you literally can't guard me. I'm wondering if this is the same guy from the previous possessions, actually. It is the same guy from the previous possessions. Every time he sees him, he just sees money, I guess. All right, coming down. Interesting take. That's not a foul, but, you know. All right. Doesn't wait for everybody to come down the court. Just pulls it, likes what he sees. Okay. Again, scramble drill. All right. Clearly he has a lot more height on this guy. Nice D. That's just a good shot. That's just him being in the zone. All right, let's see. That screen did literally nothing, but it did get on the ball. Oh my, they just can't guard him. These guys they just can't guard him. Okay. All right. They just couldn't get a stop to save their lives. He gave that one dude like 10 buckets. Also nice for they are. He just couldn't get a stop. That was the craziest thing. All right, Northwestern. This is another good one. All right, let's see. If my internet decides to agree with me. Here we go. All right. That's a little rough. Ooh. Well, all right. Two things. So right out this, I don't know what the idea of this offensive set is. It doesn't look like he wants to slide down to the corner. It doesn't look like he's trying to screen out his man. It might be a little bit of it's a zone look. This is ugly. Where is he going? What is he hoping to do? Because he's about to clog a lane. Because he's not taking his man away. Because his man's head is completely turned. Obviously, the space that he wants to operate with is over here. I don't think he wants that turnaround. Obviously, he didn't want it. But he's also extremely right dominant. Now, they bring the double. I don't know what the heck he thought he was going to be able to do right here. Because he's on one leg. One leg's in the air. He has two hands in the air like he's calling for the ball. That's just not an advisable pass by any stretch of the imagination. The man backside is able to deflect the pass if he wanted to go all the way over there. He's just kind of in the middle of nowhere's land, so this is the correct pass. Definitely shouldn't have did that overhanded. Definitely got to skip that outside of his frame, because obviously this big in particular seems to be a little bit on the slower side. So the odds that he goes from being up here to swatting that ball extremely quickly is extremely unlikely. That bounce pass would have got there a little bit faster. That would have been open at the elbow. It's okay that it wasn't though, right? I love that hustle right there. I love that hustle. Now, is he going to be able to get that shot off at the rim right there at the NBA level consistently? Probably not. But just the willingness of him to try that is something that I love to see. All right, ball top. Yep, nice and easy. Off glass. I don't think he wanted to go off glass, but it went in. You play much basketball yourself? Yeah, I used to. I don't have as much time because of work and whatnot, but you can't. It's one of those things, man. You just can't. You can't take basketball away from somebody. I love that pickup basketball exists. I wonder if like in other countries they have like pickup soccer, because like in America obviously we don't have pickup American football, but we have pickup basketball, and I feel like no matter what it is, just sometimes you just got to keep yourself contained though. Yeah. Do you think he's going to be a problem for us? I need to know what his personality is. I need to know who Ace Bailey is as a person. If he's a guy where he says, "Oh, I just don't want to be in Utah," ew, then he will be a problem. He will be a locker room cancer. But if he's a guy where he says, "I just wanted to go to Washington or the Pelicans or the Nets because I want money and I want to be able to prove right from day one, I'm him. I'm one. I not only will I be one of the greats in the NBA all time, but coming in, I will be arguably the best rookie, one of the best guys under 23 years old." If that's the mentality that he comes in with, then that's the Ace Bailey I want to see. The one where he's going to take every nugget of knowledge that Will pours into him and all the other veterans and all the other guys that have been there, done that, everything that they give to him, if he absorbs it like a sponge, then what we're seeing on tape will be on steroids against the league. He will be who people were hoping Cody Williams would be. I'm going to say that. He has the ability coming in, right, to be who everybody thought Cody Williams was supposed to be last year. Still a wiry frame, tall, lanky, right? Still the poise to take a shot, but his athleticism and the way that he thinks, if tweaked just a little bit, he could be really freaking good. But it's going to be an Ace Bailey decision to do what needs to be done. And that's my concern. If he takes the leap of faith, then we're cooking with hot grease. But if he doesn't and he says, "My way has always worked, just put the ball in my hands and let me and get out of my way," he's gonna run. He's gonna start hitting that proverbial, that brick wall. That he's not even gonna have a sophomore slump. He's gonna have a rookie. What would we call that? I don't know. I almost said a crazy 4-letter word that rhymes with rake. That doesn't work in the situation. Apologies. Rahuruho, what's up, good? What's up, dude? So came here from the break, chopping wood from the summer crib, 20 miles from where Lowry's from. Hey, that's what's up. In one of his interviews, he said that Ainge made the right choice picking him. Good comment to hear. Yeah, the one thing is he has to do a lot of PR cleaning up now to prove that while this wasn't my initial destination and my camp did say that I didn't want to be here, right? I'm gonna give you guys 120%. If he comes in with that energy and that's the way he speaks, then I'll do a whole 180. I'll say, "Hey, I love this guy, and I want that to happen." Let me go ahead and preface that. I really want that to happen. You said replace his agent, good communication with the team, and I think he'll be fine here. I'm down to buy it. I'm down to buy it. We've had plenty of middle-aged guys playing soccer leagues. Winner gets a pack of beers. Hey, that's what's up. That's definitely what's up. Oh, that's cool. That's awesome. He said, "I despise Eli Manning his whole career for not going to the team that drafted him. Can't stand a diva." I can't either, but I'm I grew up a Hornets fan, so every time somebody says, "Kobe was drafted by the Hornets, but he didn't want to play for y'all because y'all are trash," I just sit there and say, yeah, the Hornets are a poorly run organization, have been since MJ existed in ownership and whatnot. I mean, we've always been bad, but yeah. Agreed. Hope he has maturity to see the opportunities in Utah and appreciate the city, and he isn't all about the money lifestyle. Bingo. Honestly, Utah might be one of the few places where, as a player, he will be able to reach his peak. I'm going to go to Summer League July 5th. I'm going to make sure he gets cheered loudly. Do Summer League games cost money? I always wanted to go to the Summer League. Excited for Walter Clayton. We're going to watch his tape after this. I don't know how much time you guys have. It's 10 a.m. for me right now. I just got off like an 11-hour shift that I was supposed to get off at 9. I was supposed to be streaming like 2.5 hours ago. It didn't happen, obviously, because that's where I'm on now. But I'm just really interested to see and look at a little bit more stuff. He could end up being the best player in the draft, so I'm excited regardless. Makes the season more entertaining at least. Yeah, for sure. For sure. All right, let me get back on topic. I'm sitting here. This is only 3 minutes tape. Nice little pull-up. Solid mechanics. Land steady. Clean release. Love to see that. All right, let's see. Crowded on the side. Drives baseline pull-up. That's a tough shot. See, when he does stuff like this, it makes you want to ignore the misses. It makes you want to ignore the shot selection. Because, at the NBA level, is he going to hit those? Probably not. But dang, it looks good, man. Jab, pull. Get it out the net. Oh, my goodness. Chris, what's good? What's good, my guy? It's been a minute. Another one. Cooking with hot grease. You hold on. No. All right, well, I'll rewatch this one. It is only 3 minutes. Yep, jab, jab, yep. Was that a long 2? Hold on. Yeah, the ref called it a 3. That's a 2. Foot on line. All right, let's see. Yep. Smooth back down. Won't be able to get that position in the NBA, but the willingness to take that shot is what we like to see. Downhill, Harper to him, lob, nice and easy. You got beat back door, buddy. Be careful. I wouldn't. Yeah. I mean, they just got caught sleeping on that one. It looks nice, but not much to grade there. All right. I love the way he operates out of that. I'm not going to lie. I love the way he operates with that pivot foot. He got a sturdy pivot. Goodness. I didn't realize it when I was watching film before like that. That's a tough shot. That's a tough shot. He hops into the catch. Yeah. That shit. I love when he feels himself. I love when he's feeling himself. I watched a lot of lowlights, if y'all couldn't tell. But man, the highlights look really good. All right, let's see. Close out. Nice. All right. Ooh. Shot clock violation? Yeah. All right, let's see here. Flashing across the lane for that pull. Interesting. Okay. I wonder if we can scheme that into the offense. All right, pull. Ill-advised shot, but it went in. That's how you know you're hot. You just got it like that. 8:24 Utah time. Still in my bed, so I'll watch unless I fall asleep. Nice. I don't know if you remember, but one of your lives at the beginning of the season, I told you I wanted Ace Bailey. You did say that. I don't forget. You did, and you got him. And I want to believe. I'm not yet a believer, but I'm watching the tape because I have to be unbiased. My biggest thing, as y'all know, I'll tell you off rip when I'm about to sit there and say something completely out of left field. But outside of that, completely unadulterated truth based on numbers. I love me some numbers. And I love to watch film. Two things I'll always love. If Ace does prove to be him, what is our starting 5? Ooh. It depends on who we come into the season with, right? Because, right after this video finishes, I'm gonna talk about that because I gotta look at our roster to say exactly what I want. In the fast break, give and go, give it back. Yup, I can see that happening. Imagine him and Colin Sexton or him and Isaiah Collier right there. Yeah. Just give it to me above the rim. That takeoff was interesting though. He did take off too. Like the way he did it was interesting. Just straight off into a hop, but also protects the knees. So I'm not mad at that. All right, is that everything? No, they're just glazing. Okay. All right, coming down. The odds that he won't get something that easy at the NBA level. I'm not mad at it though. Yeah, it won't be that easy. I love the way that he just went into it. Recognizing, hold on. Even though it takes a lot of ill-advised shots, right? And it works at that level. Him being right here, fighting for positioning, recognizing as long as you get the ball out here, just put it right there in my left hand and let me go to work. Boom. Drops it right down there. Immediately seeing this side, sees him crowding, sees him. He's not sliding over hard enough to make himself a viable option. And I see the big right there in the middle of the paint. So no matter what I do, I want to turn. But as soon as I turn, he's going to be there. So I have to get it out of my hands quickly. Boom, right there. Protects it with the shoulder. Nice and smooth. Goes in. I would like to see that at the next level. Depending on how comfortable his matchup is. Or who he ends up with. Is that everything? Oh, that's everything. That was nice. I didn't hate that. All right. Google Utah Jazz roster. we'll go to ESPN. Depth. Why they got everybody on day to day? Brother, what? Stop. We're in the off season. We don't need injury reports just yet. You said Lowry, Kessler, Ace or Sensa, Collier. Hoping that we trade Sexton, Clarkson, Collins. I'm not mad at that. I could see it happening. Collier, Sexton, Ace, Lowry, Kessler is what my heart wants. But the Jazz are going to start JC and Collins. Ace, Quincy, what's good, my guy? If you have Clarkson on the team, I'm going to be so mad. Clarkson has to go. We've reached a point where either he's going to turn into Udonis Haslem or he has to go, right? Because we don't have the minutes to give to him to allow him to just try stuff. You know what I'm saying? There's other guys. Keontae George is Jordan Clarkson to me, just to put that into perspective. Keontae George was never going to be a point guard in my eyes. I saw it the way I went over the college tape to make sure I wasn't bugging out because he played the 3 in college despite his height. And you could say, oh, they just ran a 3 guard. They just ran a lot of guards, guys. Okay, whatever. He wasn't a facilitator since he was in high school. So coming into the NBA and having to learn how to be a facilitator and also having to be a facilitator at the highest level of basketball, two completely different and difficult things to do. He just wasn't built for it, right? Not mad at it. It just wasn't meant to happen. So right here they have Isaiah Collier, Colin Sexton, Lowry, John Collins, Walker Kessler. John Collins, I don't want to say 80%, but I'm like 78% sure John Collins gets traded. I want to see Taylor Hendricks starting, but I'm feeling things. He said, buy him out. I don't care. Get rid of him. Unless he's fine not getting. If he's fine not getting minutes, just collecting a check, that's perfectly fine. You know what I'm saying? Unless like we're down men and people are injured, and he just like comes in and just does stuff, just for the love of the game. So here's the thing. Looking at this, can you all see it the same way I can? Let me zoom in just in case, because on my screen I can't tell how warm it is for y'all. All right. So I don't know enough about Hendricks and what he's capable of. All right, so crash course on Taylor Hendricks from my point of view and what I saw his rookie year, what I saw in the minimal amount of G League tape that we were able to see, and then what I'm hoping to see this upcoming year once he's finally good to go. They said he's not going to be ready for summer league ball, so that's unfortunate. I did want to see him play in the summer league, but it's okay. I'm not mad. I just want him to be healthy. Slightly weaker rim protector than Walker Kessler. Slightly meaning that he can still give you probably 1 to 1.3 a game if Walker Kessler's out for some reason or something of that nature. He's definitely a better defensive player than Kyle Filipowski. He moves his feet better on the perimeter than Walker Kessler. He's just not as strong of a rim protector of Walker Kessler. So think Walker's strengths defensively, flip them, and you have Taylor Hendricks. Taylor's not going to be a bad paint protector, but he's also not going to be as dominant as Walker is at deterring shots. He's also going to be faster on the perimeter, and in pick and rolls, you don't have an advantage by switching onto Taylor Hendricks. That's one thing that they're going to have to that people are going to be able to realize. Last season, we didn't get to see a lot of we didn't see him play enough in pick and rolls, but to me, I did not see a comfortable advantage. Usually, when you initiate a pick and roll situation, you want an obvious defender where you can create an advantage for yourself or for the person that just screened for you. And in a lot of situations, Taylor Hendricks was not a liability. You're going to see more of a liability with a Kyle Filipowski, where he at times will hop. Defensively, you don't want a guy that hops, because as soon as you get off the ground, your reaction time is automatically slower than if you're sliding your feet, right? Or if you're cross sliding. He did a little bit of hoppiness, and Walker can be a little bit lead-footed at times, depending on how long he's been in the game and how tired he is. I didn't see that with Taylor Hendricks. Again, not enough tape last year with him having a lot of weight on him. His rookie year, I liked the way he moved, but he was also wiry. He put on that extra 20, 25 pounds, and I think that he can hold up a lot better against size now, but I have to see more of it. I don't have enough tape to say that for sure. Offensively, I need him to be able to shoot the three as consistently as I know he can. His mechanics are smooth. It just doesn't always go down the way that it needs to. I think that him putting the ball on the deck is not super reliable, think of him with the ball on the deck similar to Lowry, though Lowry was experimenting last year. That's why his percentages were a little bit lower than usual. That combined with obviously his actual injury, even though people didn't believe for some reason, even though he's had back issues his entire career. This isn't new to Utah Jazz tanking. But he's not very great at putting the ball on the deck. He doesn't have the most refined post work, but he can shoot the three ball, especially from the short corners, at a high rate when he's in a groove. He can finish very well, and he's a very solid pick and roll partner. But again, with the added size, we need to see if he's capable of doing what he did as a rookie more efficiently and with higher percentages of success coming into this year or whenever he is finally prepared to go. How is Hendricks coming back? Yeah. Dude, when I rewatch the injury, every now and then it pops back into my head when I think about him, dude. I'm just glad. Like, it's crazy to say that the injury was terrible, but I'm glad it wasn't like an Achilles tear, right? Because his injury was nasty. But it's like, at least it wasn't like a torn labrum or like an ACL, an Achilles. Like, don't get it twisted. It's bad, but it's not the worst, so to speak, especially for a guy at his height and his length and the way that he's going to be required to play the game. We have a lot of young players and vets that need to get traded ASAP. Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we have to do. Like something has to give, and it's gonna suck when it does. But it's one of those necessary evils that just has to happen. I'm scared to see Hendricks hustle. Yeah. I want to believe that it's gonna look really, really good, but at the same time, I'm scared out of my mind. And I wonder if for him, like, him doing like the 3v3s in practice and him doing 5-on-5 being cleared to completely practice is really going to be the thing that builds his confidence. So when he actually gets into the actual games, even if he's on a minutes restriction starting out, he's playing like, 17 to 25 minutes a night, we get to see him like comfortable in his own skin. And if we see that, that's a really great sign, and I'm going to love it from start to finish. Want to move Collins, JC, Johnny, potentially Bryce and Lowry. Interesting, Bryce and Lowry. I low-key want to see Bryce succeed here. This is I know it's a hot take. I know most people don't care about Bryce because he's kind of like an afterthought, especially considering where he was drafted. But the efficiency he shot with last year, I was over the moon. I didn't expect it to happen. He improved last year like I thought Keontae needed to improve last year. Bryce went from shooting. Hold on, let's get to the meat and potatoes, boys. He went from shooting 39% on 200 shot attempts to on 600 shot attempts shooting 46%. From on 115 threes, 29.5%, shooting borderline Jordan Clarkson from three-point range, to shooting to almost, I almost said tripling. Wait. Yeah, no, I'm not bugging. Over tripling that, over 300% more threes, right? 42%. What? Now, of course, that should have been, we should have been able to assume that because he shot 90%. Again, it was only on 41 free throw attempts, and he only played in 32 games, but in 71 games, 15 starts, played 20 minutes on average. So really just plug and play minutes. Like one game you might get 31. The next game you might get 7. And he managed to stay the course. 8.5 field goal attempts, 5.5 of them being threes. 3 boards, 1.5 assists. Not really much of a playmaker, but also not super turnover prone. It about equals out to 1 apiece, essentially. Not foul prone, not really great defensively, but he did slide his feet a little bit better last year. That's one thing I do need to praise him for, because his rookie year, you could tell he was overweight. You could tell he needed to shed some pounds because he got tired like that. And it's like, brother, I know you've been in the G League for a minute, but come on. And he played 32 games, and we were tanking, so it was acceptable at the time. But last year, he wasn't as much of a cone. He wasn't great by any stretch of the imagination, but I would say he was a slight positive as a defender. Nice, thank you. Yeah, no problem. I wouldn't trade Bryce given last year. He was showing me a good shooter for us. Jazz and one. Yo, Ronald, you're foolish. But yeah, I want like this efficiency. Imagine, like y'all hearing, but are y'all hearing me though? What did I just do? I just messed up. Hold on. Y'all are hearing me, but are you hearing me for real though? He shot 13. He shot almost 14 attempts. He shot almost 3 more field goal attempts last year than he did the year before, and still shot 39%. Basically all of them were 3-pointers, and he only increased by 0.9%. We know he should be able to shoot because his free throw percentage, if it's any indicator as it should be for all guys, is north of 80%. But his field goal percentage is hot dog water. Like, imagine you take Bryce Sensabaugh's efficiency, that 46% shooting, right? That's almost a 7% jump and a 14% jump. Let's say he just jumps 4% from beyond the arc. Let's say he goes from shooting 33.5% to shooting 38%. Now we're cooking. Let's say he goes from shooting 39% to shooting 44% from the field. Now we're cooking. If he can't do either of those things this year, it's been fun having you. It's time for you to go. Your time has come. Bye-bye. You know, there's a limit. There's a limit, you know. Jazz player do I trust the most in clutch? Ooh, in the clutch. Assuming he stays on the roster, Colin Sexton. Always been a young bull guy. I trust his efficiency last year was phenomenal. 40% from 3 on a grand shot diet. I need that. Isaiah Collier, I think he had that one lay that was really nice, but his overall shooting percentages are too low for me to bank on. Keontae George is willing to take the shot, but his percentages tell us that he won't hit it. Jordan Clarkson, similarly, is definitely willing to take that shot, but it probably won't go in. Taylor Hendricks just not enough. Low key. If I died on the Kyle Filipowski miss, I wouldn't be mad. Sounds crazy to say, but just a thought. Walker, obviously not. John Collins wouldn't be the craziest thing in the world. Lowry, obviously, if you draw up a play and he ends up missing the shot, we'll live and die by that because, you know, he's the guy that gets paid the big bucks by default. Supernova was good. I appreciate that. From France? That's what's up. I appreciate that. Ace, if Ace, I'm going to tell you right now, if Ace ends up being the person that I hope he is and not the person that I expect him to be, man, we might have did something. We might actually have something going our way. Because don't get it twisted. He has the balls of Jordan Clarkson for sure. The concern is he has the shot selection of Keontae George and Jordan Clarkson molded into one. So the efficiency isn't going to be there. If you give Ace Bailey, if you keep his confidence at that level and give him the poise of Colin Sexton and Colin Sexton's shot selection, Ace Bailey, I almost said he washes Cooper Flagg. Holy, that's ballsy. He's arguably the best player in the from this rookie class, for sure. If you give him Larry Markkanen's mechanics or Larry Markkanen's poise from a catch and shoot standpoint beyond the arc, he's definitely that. He's definitely one of them ones. You give him the rebounding prowess of John Collins or Walker Kessler last year, Walker Kessler. You talking about borderline a generational prospect. Yeah. Do I think Lowry will bounce back next season? It depends on how much we allow him to experiment. Because last year there was a lot of him putting the ball on the deck and taking shots, and a lot of them didn't go. Obviously, he also had that back injury, and it showed because his mechanics looked a little bit funky sometimes. Sometimes he just looked a little bit uncomfortable. Sometimes it looked like he was just rushing a shot that he didn't normally shoot in a particular manner. But I would like to think that he gets better. I have no reason to believe that he just sits there and pulls a Jordan Clarkson and shoots the same or worse. Yeah. in the clutch. You trust Collier to make the right decision and get the ball to the best player for it. Yeah, I'll buy on that. I'll bite on that. I do believe that Collier in the clutch will put the ball where the ball needs to go. It was actually really, really good seeing Isaiah Collier's progression throughout the season, because obviously we knew he was going to be turnover prone. Obviously we knew he wasn't going to shoot like. Do they do splits by month? They do. Yes. That's what I wanted to see. All right, so let's grade him from February, because that's where things really picked up. 10 field goal attempts. One thing that I really, really hate is when people will when analysts will sit there and get on TV and be like, I know ball doesn't really matter in February, March, and April. You're giving people a cop-out to be ass. No. Basketball matters then. If you want to say a tanking team is still going to want to tank and tank harder in that time, you can. But for any team that wants to make the playoffs, that basketball matters more than the beginning of the season. It matters more than October games. So what are we talking about when they look at stats and like, well, yeah, he played well in March, but it was March. What does that mean? If anything, everybody's warm. Everybody's had their time through the season. Now, if you want to say certain star players might be injured or might be resting, okay, fine. I'll give you that. I will concede that moral victory to you. But if you're about a bucket and you're efficient and you're putting points on the board and you're not turning the ball over now and you're rebounding well and you're playing really good defense, the month doesn't matter. Especially near the end of the season, because it matters more arguably. It just burns. It just burns every time they do that. You said Ace has the chance to be that, especially because he's in Utah. They got a great development in Utah, a slower state. It'll probably be good for him to help stay locked in. Yeah, there's not going to be a lot of opportunity. There's not going to be as many opportunities. There's still going to be opportunities for him to do stupid things and get into dumb situations, because it's like that everywhere, right? If you search hard enough for something, you're likely to find it, but it's going to be less abrasive and in his face as it would be in one of those other areas. For example, if he went to the Brooklyn Nets, it'd be very easy to be unlocked in New York, I'll tell you. What's good, Jeff? Yes, sir. And Utah matters more because it's the only sport for so long. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. No more tanking. No laughing matter. Fingers crossed, dude. Fingers crossed. Keontae got to show Ace around to make him enjoy it here. Hey, if anybody can make Ace Bailey love it, I'm pretty sure Keontae or maybe Bryce. I feel like Bryce knows some spots, dude. Bryce has to know. Bryce, on the low. Him, maybe Jordan Clarkson. Maybe Jordan Clarkson got to beat Unk, but he probably won't be here that long. Jordan Clarkson is probably going to get traded. So yeah. Keontae George, Bryce Sensabaugh, they need to take him out. I saw Lowry sit there and post a story. I don't know if I reposted it on IG or not, where he said, what's it called? He was like, oh, we gotta go fishing sometime. And in my head, I looked at Ace Bailey's picture and I said, he doesn't want to go fishing, Lowry. He doesn't want to go fishing, dude. I know it's team building, but I don't think he's an outdoorsman, and I definitely don't think he's a fisher guy. I was like, I would love to see those pictures though, for sure. But yeah. I'm afraid if Collier does not develop a shot by year 3, bench might be his ceiling. Yeah, most definitely. He'll be a darn good sixth man. He will be a very good game manager, but that's all he will end up being. I know Jordan Clarkson knows something about Utah. He loves it too much, Utah. That's what I'm saying. Jordan Clarkson is one of those guys where his personality is so flamboyant and just out there, and you see all the style and everything he be wearing. It just makes sense for him to be one of those guys that he has something. He has some extra flavor to it. So if he sat there in an interview and was like, yeah, I mean, I just, I go to the same 4 places every night, I'd be like, Cap, you know all the spots, all the mom and pop shops, everywhere, the places that aren't anywhere online. I know for a fact. He looks nothing like Malone and Carl does fish. Guys, you think you're trading this offseason? John Collins is my number one. Jordan Clarkson is my number two. And as much as I don't want to see him go, I feel like not Jordan Clarkson. I feel like Colin Sexton is number three on that list. I feel like all three of them do not come into the season on the roster. Loki. He is part of the community, yeah. Thoughts on Cody Williams for the next season? He's going to spend a lot of time in the G League. I want to see what he weighs in at coming into the Summer League. Obviously, it's right around the corner. So if he's still like 178, 180, he's going to be in the G League the entire year. Because there's no reason why we've been in the offseason as a Utah Jazz organization and he hasn't been in the gym long enough, right? He has to take that next step. If he gets up to like 205, he can get some serious minutes here, there, and in between. He's going to have to fight for them. Don't get it twisted. It's not going to be given. He's going to have to fight for it. And I don't think Ace Bailey's going to give it to him easy. And that's going to iron sharpens iron, but I feel like Cody might be the one that gets consumed by the flame. I hope that he has an opportunity to redeem himself, though, because last year was very subpar. I feel like people had unrealistic expectations for him to immediately contribute because of who his brother was, and they just aren't the same person. Collins seemed to be the front runner. Kind of returner we thinking for Collins. Collins can command a very interesting bag, depending on who we send him to. Now, if we sit there and we get, I don't even think it would be a conditional first round pick. If we just ended up getting a unprotected first rounder and maybe a second rounder, I would be content. I don't even need a player, but I think that I don't think we can do that now with the current CBA deal in place. I think we need something to salary match. That's the problem. So if we have to get a salary matching piece, then fine. They'll just sit on the roster or we'll try and buy them out, I guess. But I think he's definitely worth a first round pick, especially the way he played last year. Now, whose first round pick is the question, but there's some contenders that could definitely use his services for sure. Especially the Celtics are doing some interesting things right now. Keep that in mind. I don't know what they're going to do, but they're doing some interesting things right now. He said Colin Sexton because he has value. The national media would not see it. Believe me, the front office does see him as Sexton. Yeah. Austin H said no more tanking, but we need to make moves with this roster. Yeah, we can't keep missing and saying, oh well, we tried, and then decide to tank the year. It's like, did you really try, or did you just say, did you pick up the phone one time and say, oh, I did my job, and then just go collect your $1 million paycheck? That's the question mark. Let's see. Don't know if this is true, but 2 scouts responsible for drafting Cody have been fired. Really? If that is true, that's crazy. Oh, that's hilarious. Not in a good way, but that would be crazy. Do you think Oscar Tshiebwe will ever make a bigger part of the team? I have mixed feelings because I love his motor. Oh my goodness, I love his motor. But he doesn't have the same savant type mind that a Draymond Green has. So scheming him defensively can be very difficult. He's definitely strong though. Holy, he's strong. He can box out with everything. It's just like, New York Knicks back in the Carmelo Anthony days. Dark skin, beard, bald. Quincy Acey, 6'7", plays center. Big ball of ferocious energy. He could potentially fill a mold like that, but we'd have to see how his shooting splits look. That would be the thing that really makes things really, really good for him, or just says, yeah, buddy, you're just gonna be there. Yeah, he's just small. I love his energy. Too small, but he's getting bored. Not too small if he's getting bored. True. But we have to see when in games that matter, can we have him on the floor in the clutch? Or can we have him on the floor in meaningful minutes? If we have Walker on the bench and we say, okay, guys, we're going small ball, can we put Tshiebwe on the court and he takes care of rebounding even when we have let's say we have Taylor Hendricks on the court. We have Lowry, and Sheboy's that other front court guy. Or let's say Lowry and Walker are resting, and you have Hendricks, Sheboy, and Filipowski on the floor. Can Sheboy clean up the glass in minutes like those? Or can he do just well enough to where the team doesn't struggle and we're not cooked in the minutes that we don't have our most key players on the court? If he can do that, he can find a role. He can find a role. And also if he could shoot. If Bane can get 5, one pick for Collins ain't a stretch. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Desmond Bane to the Magic made sense on paper, and it's honestly the correct move. It's who they need on their roster. That was the correct addition, but they drastically overpaid for him. Holy, he is not worth that. Because they gave up who? Cole Anthony, KCP, and then 4 first-round picks and 2 first-round pick swaps, right? That was egregious. He is, I would argue, if you're giving up KCP and Cole Anthony, maybe I'll say 1 unprotected first and 1 top 3 protected, right? Let's make it a little spicy, right? Top 3 protected. 4 unprotected and 2 pick swaps? What are we talking about? What are we actually talking about? Now, here's the thing. They sat there and made that deal. And if they don't make a deep playoff run in the very near future, they look stupid. Not as stupid as the Clippers did for trading for Paul George, but still stupid. I'm not going to lie. There will never be a trade worse than that Paul George trade. What do you mean you traded Paul George for an eventual NBA MVP, a couple other players that are just out and about, like 4 first-round picks, and then you couldn't flip Paul George into anything? You didn't win anything meaningful. He was injured every time it mattered, and he walked. We will never be able to look forward and be like, yeah, Paul George was a bust in that for the Clippers, but they turned him into a first-round pick and a second-round pick that turned into these players, and they're trying to make something happen right now, but they're just not really good. No. It just doesn't exist. There's nothing. It started and ended with Paul George, and it's over with. It's crazy. Yeah. Yeah, he's different from Kenny. Kenny could low-key be a little bit more of a point forward. Kenny was more of a Draymond offensive mind than Sheboy, because he has the ability to. Filipowski is more of a Kenneth Lofton Jr. than Oscar Sheboy is, I would say. You said Kenny fat and athletic, Oscar very bouncy. Oh, weak. I mean, yeah. Those are the obvious truths of the matter. For now, how Ace will fit in depends on Taylor's rehab and Cody improving. Yeah, for sure. That, and then what they decide to do with Keontae George's minutes. That's going to tell us a lot of things. I know hindsight is 2020, but last year turned to be the best year for the Italian. Utah staff said Gabriel Padilla to come over. It'll be interesting to see what happens there, because I don't actually understand how their contracts are working, and the fact that they haven't moved him over to our roster yet means that I guess he's still stashed temporarily, maybe for a year. I'm interested to see like what comes of it. Whose numbers am I looking at? Oh, Isaiah Collier's. Yeah. Shooting 40s when he actually gets some significant minutes, shooting more than 5 field goal attempts, night and day. Again, the 3-pointers were still egregious. Not good at all, but it was there. Didn't shoot great from the free throw line. Concerning, yes. Rebounding, just as you would expect. Assist-wise, though, looked really, really nice. Love to see it. Turnovers, kind of high turnovers, but he did, admittedly, it was only 3 games in April, but 9 assists to 1.7 turnovers compared to February in 13 games, 9.5 assists to 3.4 turnovers. Very, 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 very nice to see. April, even, if you look at not April. March is interesting, but just those 3 games in April, obviously, hopefully show us some more going forward. But we'll see. I don't want to harp on it too much. Somebody that does deserve some love right now, though, is Hoops Nerd. Walter Clayton Jr. Senior highlights. All right, we'll open that in a new tab. I want to see a specific game, though. Oh, 34 points. All right. Auburn in the Final Four. That's what we want to see. I like that. House of Highlights. Shout out House of Highlights.
I think they're going to feel it out a little bit. Maybe stunt.
He said...
Maybe double. That jumper is pure for Walter.
Let me lock in.
I think they're going to feel it out a little bit. Maybe stunt. Maybe double. That jumper is pure for Walter Clayton Jr. Early sweetness in that first meeting. Nice string out by Bloom. Clayton, bottom. He's amazing. Nice string out by Bloom. Clayton, bottom.
Slow this down. Nah, because, like Ace takes tough shots because they're contested really hard. He takes shots where it's like, these are shots that, your Dames, your Kyries, your Currys, these are their type of shots. These shouldn't be a guy in college. Granted, he is, 22 now? He's still coming over here, chasing retreat. He sees the big running away. The big is kind of playing the ball, but not really. He's more so denying the pass. Obviously cuts that off. The big doesn't even really have to rotate like that. He could just cut it off right here and then slide over, right? But he doesn't want to do that. There's no communication between these two. So he's putting that hand out on the way. He's going to keep retreating. Both of them have their hips wide open. He's trying to get up on him, obviously. Boom.
Yeah, Clayton, bottom. He's amazing. Drag to and elevate. And rebounded by Richard.
Oh, the volume is running? Oh, I thought I muted it. My fault. I don't have my headphones on. Well, let me see. Yeah, all right. Now it stopped. All right, coming down. He's also amazing. He's also pretty quick. Downhill. Not much to say about that one. Obviously, he got aid from his big who shielded him out right there. So that's always good. Could I see Walker Kessler doing something similar to that? Yeah, for sure. All right. You know what's crazy about that? Remember that previous shot where I said the way he gathered into it was crazy. The other crazy thing is he can shoot on a dime like that so quickly that when he does, as soon as he catches and he up fakes, they have to pause. They have to respect it. And now he's behind the play and then decides, all right, let me just tail off. Nice and easy. And then I don't even know what 31 was trying to help on. He stunted for nothing. I don't know why he's on the court. Split the double team. Hold on. I see you, but you're not low enough. Split. Come to the lane. You didn't shield out. It's okay. Whole lot of contact. I love that. I would like to see him do that at the NBA level. I think that's a reasonable shot for him to take. It's not crazy. Now, splitting a double team on a consistent basis, we'll see. But just like that, man. Yep. Oh, jelly? Okay. Yes. I hope he doesn't get pinned off the glass. That would be rough. I'm tired too. I told you I had a 10-hour shift before this, so I'm about to get off in a second. I just wanted to make sure I did watch some of his tape to appreciate his greatness for a second. All right, nice. Coming downhill, yep. He's not afraid of contact. I'll give him that. Sometimes he can be. That's the thing. So seeing that is very interesting. Final Four. Who thinks to take that shot? Like that's not a shot you take. Mind you, he swings this one. Boom. Duel, sidestep, get it out the net. I don't care if you're taller than me. I don't care if you're longer than me. Get it out the net. Like what? My goodness. All right, bring it back up top. Trying to get open. Yep, nice. DHO, give it. On a dime. Look at this on a dime. I want him. I think he is who Keontae George thinks he is in his head. The threes that Keontae George takes, you would love to see them go in. And if they did, they would make me feel like these do. That's the thing. Right? Yo, putting a hand on somebody's forehead like that, splits a double team. Yup. Get out the net. Now, it's not going to be that butt naked open in the league, but it will be pretty easy for him to get there. Yup. Nice and easy. Crazy stuff, man. Crazy stuff. Downhill. A little bit of an exaggeration there, right? But it didn't matter because he was able to get it. Is that everything? Oh, no. All right, what do we have here? I mean, that's not really anything. Do we really see all 34 points? Or was a lot of them free throws? Maybe, nah, he did take like 7 threes. I'm tripping. All right, yeah. All right, I could do a lot more. I really want to talk about Walter Clayton, but I want to wait until, I'll never forget that. I can't even remember which stream it was, but I was out like a light that time. Now, what do you call it? That does it for this right now. I feel a little bit, I'm glad that I decided to watch some more good highlights of Ace Bailey instead of looking at the raw tape and the lowlights that I intentionally searched for, because in true confirmation bias fashion, what you look for and what you say you want to find, you will inevitably find at some point, and it will convince you of what you already believe. So I feel a little bit more comfortable at Ace Bailey. I'm hoping that it was more of a parents told him that, yeah, it's in your best interest to follow what your agents say and not disprove what they said. And if that is the case, then we are in for a very nice ride. It's going to be a little bumpy this year. And we don't really know who is going to be on the team coming into the season. But once we know what veterans end up getting shipped out and things clear up that way, we'll be able to create some more concrete things. And then summer league games too. That'll tell us a lot about, especially about the young guys, seeing who's taken the step forward, who hasn't taken the step forward, and what we can expect from guys like your Cody Williams, seeing if Bryce Sensabaugh can build on last season. If they play Walker Kessler, they might not play Walker Kessler low key. Who else? Keontae George has a lot to prove as well. But we'll see. But I appreciate you all for tuning in, those that popped in whenever they did. I gotta remember how to post these VODs. I think I remember. But I'm gonna put this up there, slap a cutesy little thumbnail on it, and call it a night. I'll lay down and pass out for a few hours before I get up and run some more tasks. Maybe look over some more tape. I was thinking about making a video immediately after the second round concludes, but I might wait a day and just sit on it so I can look at the tape of whoever we end up drafting in the second round and going over a little bit more Walter Clayton junior tape. That video will probably be like 20-25 minutes whenever I post it, but it's been fun. You said I'm so excited about Ace. To me, we got the 3rd pick at 5. It's still for real. That's what I'm hoping. I would like to see him be even better than Dylan Harper. If he can do that, then that means we got the number 2 pick. And if there's even a conversation to be had about him compared to Cooper Flag, then I'm not going to say it, but I don't want to jinx it, but stuff happens. Hey, see, there's Spence right there. I knew he was going to pop in eventually. Yep. It's going to be good. It's going to be an interesting year with a lot of highs. There's definitely going to be a lot of lows, but I'm interested. We're ready to go. But as always, I appreciate you guys tuning in. This is the first live stream that I've done almost in it's been almost a year. It's got to been like 8 months probably, because I don't think I did one since like November time. But hopefully this year we'll have more. What number is it going to be? I don't know, actually. Because he usually runs 4, but 4 I want to say is a retired jersey, right? or I think he's worn like 4 and 12. I think that's what Spence said. So he won't have either of those. I don't know. Maybe he'll wear like, if he wears the number 7, I don't know if we have somebody with the number 7 off the top of my head. But if he wears like the number 7 or something, I'm not gonna lie, I might have to buy it. Heard all the bad buzz around him, but I'm willing to give him a fair shake. After all, we've all been young and dumb. So, hey, that's the one. That's the one. Yep. Dreaded Shadows was good, my guy. But yeah, that'll do it for me, boys. As always, I appreciate you tuning in. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, turn on post notifications. If you haven't already, become a member, drop a donation, helps support the content. And as always, good morning, good evening, and good night. No matter where you're on the globe watching, thanks for tuning in. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.